Okay, g'day guys. Hey, we've got another kit review in the Rye Fields series of the M1 Abrams. Okay, so what we got here on the bench in front of me is a M1A1 Abrams 1991 Desert Storm Edition. Okay, it's basically to celebrate the 25 years of the Persian Gulf War, 1991 to 2016. And the kit number is RM-5006, and box art, as usual, is absolutely gorgeous with the matte style box. Okay, it's still smooth, but it's matte. I just love Rye Fields box art, and the short sides is just basically the box art on both the short ends here, and the bottom edge, okay, 2016, made in China, and there is Rye Fields. You can find them on Facebook, Rye Field Models. Little picture of the decal sheet that is included inside, and the PE also, and just a CAD drawing of the M1A1. Alright. On the top edge, we spin it around, we have 3 different marking versions of this vehicle. Okay, so we got the CIAB second bond, whatever that is. I don't know the abbreviations for the American military vehicles. Marine battle tanks, KDO February 1991. Also got a company, I think that is 1 to 37th Armour, 1st Armour Division, KTO January 1991, and the DTP 1 to 3 Armoured Cavalry Regiment, KTO February 1991. Okay, so colour schemes are all the same. It's just you notice that between the 3 vehicles that the markings are slightly different. Colour and info and profiles by Ammo MiG, as usual on these Rye Field kits. Okay, so crack the box open, and inside you will notice that this kit isn't as busy as the Tusk version of the M1. Okay, so this is an M1A1. The Tusk version that you do see in the other video review that I'd done was an M1A2. Okay, so you don't get all the Tusk armor and all that included here. This is just a standard M1A1 that was used in the Iraq War. And before we have a look any further, we're just going to have a quick look at the instructions. Okay, and this one here is pretty thin. It's not a thick booklet. Okay, so we're going to have a look. So, as always, we got the icons, assembly icons here, and just some reading material at the start, just some safe precautions regarding plastic bags with children, small parts and things like that, and just to read all the instructions and understand them before commencing assembly. And adult supervision is required if they're young people modelling, especially with glues and knives and things like that can be dangerous and harm children. Okay, so as standard with Rye Fields instructions, first page on the inlay, page 2 is the sprue map, and I think it's page 3 and page 4 we have the 3 variants that I showed you on the outside of the box of the M1A1. We've also got the colour paint callouts, are all in Ammo MiG, so if you don't use Ammo MiG paints, just use the descriptions here for the paint colors, and just refer them to the colors that you do use in your paint collection. Okay, so that shouldn't be too hard at all, and that's probably something I will have to do. Okay, so, and you see here, just by the numbers here, these are all the colors. Okay, so 25, which is US modern vehicles, and that's it just goes through like that. And also included here is all your decal markings as well on the front couple of pages here. Page 5 is step 1 and step 2. As you've seen in the other kit reviews that I've done for the Abrams. It generally starts off with the barrel assembly and the turret. Okay, you can see that the two turret halves, it's pretty quick. By the time you get to build the turret, the barrel, the gun, you know, the two halves go together quite quickly. And then just some small sub assemblies that are required, including PE on here as well. Okay, so, and then the blue parts, I believe, I'm just going to have to double check and just read, have a quick read. The blue parts are, okay, so I'm not too sure what that blue piece is. It's kind of weird. But then we've got the rear basket assembly down here. So yeah, just have a careful read before you start building this thing, because there's little sub assemblies all over the place. If you jump the gun too much, you'll probably end up, you know, putting pieces on which you should have, which you may have to put pieces on or parts prior to that, and you'll get yourself in a knot and in all sorts of trouble. But you know, we can see that you've got the I think that looks like a commander's hatch on the top with the machine gun on here as well. And even the machine gun itself, there's just tiny, all these little, there's actually quite a few pieces to assemble the machine gun on top here. So there you go with that. And I don't know what that is. Okay, so that little thing there's the decals. So this little symbol here are decals. Okay, as you can see here as well. And there are options. Okay, so those arrows mean optional. Okay, so like I said, just study the instructions pretty carefully, guys, because it will get you stuck. Alright, so we're still building the turret here, as you can see, and on step 6 we're starting to build the lower assembly, all the running gear, swing arms, you know, things like that, torsion bars. I don't know if these torsion bars are workable. Just let me have a look on the box and I'll be able to tell you if they are. Doesn't really say if they are on this, so I'm not too sure, but we'll have a look once we get to the tracks and things like that and into the parts themselves, and see, we'll have a good look and see if they are workable. Okay, so once again we've got decals on here, so lots of little sub assemblies and things like that. And then we get to the upper part of the Abrams, like the main deck. Okay, so we've got PE that has to go in here. We've also got some vision ports. Whether you put these on now, it's up to you. You can put them on now, mask them off some liquid masking agent or masking tape, depending how you do it. So yeah, that's something that you have to think about when assembling this kit. Okay, the tracks are... Okay, these are multi-part tracks. So you've got, yes they are. So these are, I think these tracks will be the same as the M1A2. Not exactly the same, but the way it goes together will be quite similar. So if you've built that kit, you'll probably find yourself fairly familiar with building this one as well. So the way they tend to do it, put the tracks on before putting the top of the main hole on there. So that's something else you have to think about when putting tracks. Because I tend to put tracks on last, but depending on how these tracks are, yeah, we're gonna have a look at the instructions and then we will decide from there how we're going to go about it. And that's page 11. And page 12 is putting the turret onto the main hole, as well as the side plate. Okay, and there's lots of little pieces, including P, that go on the side for these nice little extra details. So yeah, but you can see we've gone through this instruction book pretty quick. It's not a busy kit. It's not a very thick box, so if you want a quick build for an Abrams, especially for a Rye Fields subject, this might be the kit for you. So we'll have a look at what's inside the box. Right, so that is all you get in the box. Alright, so we have, get this out of the way, we have clear parts. Okay, so this is pretty much the same sprue, looks like you get in the M1A2 version, the Tusk version of the vehicle. Drink bottles, all glass pieces, vision blocks, vision ports, and all this sort of stuff. And T-sprue M1. Okay, so you get that. We also have a V-sprue labeled M1, and that looks like exactly the same sprue that you get in the M1A2. Looks very similar laid out, so this might even be the same sprue that you get. So once again, it's very, very nice. Details are beautiful, as with all Rye Fields kits that I have in the collection. So, I mean, if you can see anything wrong with that, and any flash or bearing or anything like that, you're pretty good to pick that out, because I can't see anything like that at all. Ejector pin marks are very minor on the back, as always, so just quick flick with the sander and they're generally gone on these kits. Alright, so this part you'll also find very familiar, or this sprue. It is in all three kits that I do have, and if you watch the M1A1 Tusk kit, you'll see that that is not in there. Okay, whether I had them sprues mixed up, because I did pull all three out to show you this in a previous video, so I will have to go through instructions and find out which sprue did belong in which kit, because there's one, you get, out of all three kits, one of these sprues didn't have this centerpiece here with these little blocks on the bottom there, but everything else was there. So I mean, that's something that you're going to see in all the kits. The upper hull section of the vehicle, or the main deck, is exactly the same. Okay, so nothing has changed there. We come to E-sprue, and this also looks the same as the M1A2 kit, 5004. So once again, by the looks of things, guys, the only difference between the breacher kit, the M1A2 version of this, are all the sprues exactly the same that I've noticed. Okay, don't quote me on it, but except that in the M1A2, obviously you get all the Tusk armor, that's separate. All the upper machine gun, what do you call it? The cage, I guess you call it, the protective shields for, on the upper turret. You get that, which you don't get in this kit. So there's just more things that you get in the other kit that you don't. So you could more or less say this kit is the basic version of all three kits. The breacher vehicle, you don't get the barrel, but you do get the mine plow. You get all the extra parts for the turret to make up the breacher turret, and just all the other things that make up the breacher vehicles. You don't get this. So yeah, your lower hull's the same. Your road wheel sprues are the same. I think you do get, like, even to some of these, but the tracks are different. Okay, okay, so these are, okay, I do apologize, guys. These tracks are similar to, I think these are the same sprue that you get in the breacher kit, because these are Lincoln length, and the ones in the breacher kit are Lincoln length as well. The M1A2 Tusk kit are workable, these are not. Okay, so that's something also to consider. If you want workable tracks or whatever, that's something. Or if you want to get like metal tracks, okay, so like frills or something, you could go for that as well. But for me, just paint wise and weathering wise, I tend to stick with plastic tracks. They're just easy to work with, and less of a headache. So there's that's U-sprue. They're the tracks that you get in the kit. And we've gone through E-sprue already, so we've already had a look at that sprue as well. Okay, the main turret. Okay, so there's your turret sprue. That pretty much the same as well. So you're going to see a lot of repetitiveness through the kits over the 3 reviews. So if you do want to have a look, go through back to those videos, guys, and just have a look at the kit review and just see the very minor differences that you do get in these kits. So you've got even from like your stowage racks on the back are the same, your ports on the back, they're the same, just even to these little parts here. So the sprues are all the same in the kits, guys. So there's just, yeah, between the 3 kits there's not much difference, so there's really no need to go through this as well. So I do go through some of these parts in more detail in the other reviews. Okay, so you got the road wheels. This kit is exactly the same, and as I mentioned earlier, just you can tell just by the way that these parts are laid out, they're exactly the same sprue for the wheels. Alright, so you do get, now whether these will probably be workable, but because the tracks aren't workable, yeah, so they'll probably give you an option in the instruction book to to say that they're not workable, just glue them in place and don't need to cut the pins off to make them workable. With this tab here, normally you cut them off and the swing arm becomes workable. Okay. This one here, ooh, you only get 1 in this one. Yep. So in the other kit, you actually get 2 of these sprues. This kit you only get 1. So you get all the jerry cans and ammunition boxes and machine guns and all that sort of stuff. So you only get 1 in here. That's O sprue. Alright, so I'll give you a little look-see. Alright, so that's it there. And you get F sprue. Once again, that sprue looks exactly the same as the previous review, even to the fenders and the layout of the sprue. Okay, so that is it there. But still very nice. Not knocking the kits because they're putting the same parts in. I mean, that's pretty smart actually. There's no point in doing things differently, unless you're rivet counting, you really want specific parts on the vehicle. But then that's completely up to you. The lower hole is exactly the same throughout the kits. Nothing has changed there also. But it's still a very nice detail. You're not going to be disappointed with any of these kits, guys. It's at all. Like, I'm still blown away every time I look at these kits, even though they're the same, but just how they're packaged, how the detail is on the parts, and everything like that. Okay, PE and decals. Alright, you see that everything's in registry there. It's bloody nice, like just how, like you can see there, if I can bring it in without sort of being too dark. I mean, you can just see how nice and crisp how these decals are on this sheet. And I can tell you now that decals from Rye Fields are awesome. They're very easy to work with, and you just won't be disappointed when they go on. They're not too glossy and they're not too matte. They're just like, yeah, they're in that area where it's just perfect. You can't really pick them. You can't say anything bad about them. Okay, and the PE there as well is also very nice. Nice thin PE by Rye Fields. Very easy to cut off the thread actually with a hobby knife, and a little bit of folding as well. So like I said in the other videos, you probably will need like a PE parts bender or a pair of PE pliers or something like that, or even just a pair of tweezers, hobby knife with a ruler. You'll get through with that, and just get some decent super glue to apply these parts down with. So that's the PE part there, and it is 2016 Rye Field models. Okay, stamped on the top there. And the final piece of paper in here. Okay, so obviously they've made a boo-boo in the original instructions, and it says correct the instructions. Okay, so that's pretty weird, but yeah, step 2, step 3, step 5 and step 10 there are corrections. So whether you have the updated version of the kit, if there's such thing where the book has been updated, or they've just thrown this in, so make sure you got this and you keep this and you take notes, even if you have to make notes in the instruction book, that you need to refer back to this piece of paper, okay guys, because you don't want to be making mistakes, especially with a kit this nice. Oh, excuse me. Okay guys, so that is the box empty. Alright, nothing else to show you. That's the review. I hope you found this review useful and sort of cleared up any questions that you may have had regarding this kit. If you're not subscribed to this channel, hit the sub button. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it for whatever reason at all, give it a thumbs down. Lets me know what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Thanks for your support, guys. Feel free to leave comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a great weekend. Happy modeling. Stay safe, and I'll catch you later. See you later. Bye.